Sri Mano Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Parakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Dapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Vishwabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhae Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayasta Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki Krishnaya Anush Prabhu, I'm stuck.
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Right. So, let's see how many participants do we have over here. We have 12 participants. Of course, some of the family members are also there. So a question to us is, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we spoke about mediocrity in our devotional service, right? Many of us, including myself, we feel that, we can just, engage in devotional service by ourselves. We don't want to be part of a congregation. We don't want to, meet others in a classroom setting, in a temple setting, right? We just feel, let me just, spirituality is an individual process. I engage in it by myself. But, we learn from the scriptures that if you look at Bharat Maharaj, so that's where he decided to go to, Badrika Ashram, right? Where he had renounced his whole family, his kingdom, his wealth, all the apparatus, all the vehicles which he had, all the ammunition which he had, everything he had renounced, and he just decided to go to Badrika Ashram. And there again, he was all by himself, right? He was not receiving any association. And the power of the mind is such that the moment there is no association, the moment, we do not get the association of more advanced devotees, then the mind will start playing and, concocting paradigms which gives us lots of comfort and tells us that, no, whatever we are doing is fine. But we know in the case of Bharat Maharaj, when he was all alone, what actually happened was his mind tricked him to understand that just by serving the deer, he was actually serving his final goal of going back to Godhead, right? And what happened was he became so attached to the deer, and in the next life he had to come back in the body of a deer. So there's a lot which we can actually learn from that particular story. And I need to tell myself again and again that this association is so important. Association with your spiritual master, association with like-minded devotees. And yesterday I had sent you a short video on, who are the type of people we should be associating with. We should be associating with people who genuinely care for us, right? Genuinely care for us. And of course, it's not a one-off process. This care and concern is also built over time, just like we learn in the corporate world, that trust is built over many, 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 many episodes. And therefore, right, today when you go to the temple, when you meet devotees, etc., you will begin to form friendships, etc. But it will take some time before you feel that, yes, these are the people whom I can actually associate with. So it's very important for us to go deeper into this point and work on this. Okay, otherwise what's going to happen is lifetimes will come and go, and we will still be stuck at where we are. So we need to take a clear intention, a conscious intention, because we know that wherever attention goes, energy will flow. If we do not give attention to this, if we do not give attention to improving ourselves in bhakti, then energy will not be there, right? There's some of us who have been coming for the classes for many, 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 many years. But when you ask them how much they have progressed, of course, they are very humble to tell you that, no, I have not. Many of them are still, clinging on to, eating, eating meat, etc. But by now, we should be already progressing towards, stopping all of these activities. Because we know that Krishna is there in everyone's heart, even in every living entity's heart. And therefore, what gives us the right to, to take another person's life or another animal's life, right? So, which means simply that whatever we are learning is not making an impression on our hearts. And we need to ask ourselves this question, right? And it's not for you. Actually, I'm asking myself, because I know, I joined, the movement, or I started at least touching one page of the Bhagavad Gita about 30 years ago. But still, it's like, wow, I'm still far away. And therefore, as a well-wisher, I'm actually pouring out my heart to talk about myself, and also in the hope that we will all, focus on this point and try to see how we can help each other. Okay. So, my spiritual master has come up with a list of, questions based on the scriptures. Okay, when I say spiritual master, does not necessarily mean my spiritual master or Guru Maharaj who initiated me, right? We can have Shiksha Gurus and we can have Diksha Guru. Diksha Guru is one who initiates me into the parampara, and a Shiksha Guru is anyone who actually gives me some knowledge, right? So one of my spiritual masters, he actually, did a deep dive into the scriptures, and he came up with an amazing list of a checklist, a questionnaire to ask ourselves how are we actually really progressing in spiritual life. And I wanted to look at all of these questions over here, right? And just in all honesty, okay, there are 7 questions over here. In all honesty, just ask ourselves, on a scale of 1 to 5, where would I rate myself on each of these questions? Okay. And at the end of it, just sum up the ratings. Okay. So for example, if you are 5 for each of these 7 questions, then you will be at 35. I'll just give you, 5 minutes after I stop speaking to rate yourself. And you don't have to tell me, okay? You can keep this to yourself, but it's more for self-introspection. Number one is I'm eager and enthusiastic to grasp new insights in Krishna consciousness. That means, I'm looking forward to reading. I'm looking forward to, on a daily basis, listening to sound bites which can actually improve myself. Okay. So that's 1 to 5. Number 2 is I have spiritual friendship where I can be completely honest with the other person. Do I already have someone in my life? All right. Or some people, or maybe it could even be my, my partner, my spouse, whom I can be open in the hope that, when I share my position, when I share the difficulties I'm going through, this person is care enough for me to tell me that this is what I need to be doing. Okay, so we are like, uplifting each other. Once again, on a scale to 1 to 5, on a scale of 1 to 5. Number 3 is I think about the ultimate goal of life that I have on a daily basis. So on a daily basis, I'm telling myself that, look, I'm not this material body. I can spray some perfume, I can put on some makeup, etc. But I need to know that I need to really live this fact that I'm actually a spirit soul. And this false covering is what is essentially emphasizing this upadhi, which is, I'm a man, I'm a worker in this particular company, I'm a father, etc. But beyond all of this, I'm a spirit soul. And what is my ultimate goal? As a spirit soul, my ultimate goal is to serve the one who has given me everything, to reconnect with the one who has given me everything, in the hope that I don't have to come back into this material world, because this material world has got ebbs and flows of happiness and distresses. Okay, so 1 to 5 again. I think about the ultimate goal of life and I'm like working towards it. I may have material goals, right? Number one is, to bring enough money onto the table, bring enough bread onto the table, to get into a certain position in my workplace, etc. But then, once we retire, we will realize that, wow, whatever we were thinking people were, proud about us, whatever we felt that, wow, we were adding value to the organization, etc. The moment we leave the organization, within 2 days, 3 days, everyone would have forgotten us. All this material legacy, yeah, it doesn't really last. So on a daily basis, I'm about, I always think about the ultimate goal of life. What can I do today? What can I do right now? How can I live in the present to ensure that tomorrow is better for me? That tomorrow I'm actually also getting closer and closer to my ultimate spiritual goal. Number 4 is I'm focused and present while doing spiritual activities. When I'm in a class, when I'm hearing, when I'm chanting, when I'm worshiping, when I'm serving, I'm present. This morning again, I was telling myself that, so my wife does the arti and I sing the Mangala, the Mangala Arti prayers. And I'm like, like a machine gun, brrr, I'll go on. And sometimes she tells me, slow down. And then I ask myself, hey, actually, am I even thinking about what I'm saying? Is it genuinely coming from the heart, or is it like a parrot who has just sung the prayers? So am I present? When I'm singing the Damodar prayers, am I, living like, storytelling? Why is storytelling so efficacious? Storytelling is so efficacious because when someone is relating a story to you, the neurons in our mind and the neurons in the storyteller are actually, vibrating at the same time, or they are triggering in a same fashion, and therefore the storyteller and you can connect. Right? So just imagine when you are singing something and when you are reading something and when your mind is also, forming this story in the mind, then how your soul is actually able to connect to this scenario, this picture. And that's what living in the present is all about. And when you do that, then you will feel that, wow, I'm getting deeper and deeper. But if let's say we are like a parrot, then you'll not be there. So for those of us like Lalita Mataji, Deepa Mataji, Rasija Mataji, Anuj Prabhu, who were there on the final day of, the Damodar prayers, Kartik. So Devaki Prabhu, he sang the Gopi Geet. Okay, for those of us who already know the meaning of the Gopi Geet, and when we were listening to him singing it or reciting it, and when we knew some parts of the meaning, or at least when we knew, the pastimes of the gopis crying for Krishna, then you will realize that, wow, there is a chance that we may feel that spirituality, we may feel that hunger to get connected to the Lord. But if we do not know the meaning behind it, then, it's just like reading something. Okay. So it's important for us to be present, to be focused, and to have a clear intention in wanting to understand the meaning of what we are doing. Even when you are doing the arati, right? What is the mood when we are doing the arati? We have explained this at least 10 times in our classes. The mood when we are doing the arati is that, oh Lord, these are all elements you have given me: fire, water, air, sound, within ether. Everything is given by you. What I'm doing is, I'm just so hopeless. I have nothing to give you. And therefore, whatever you have given me, I'm just returning it back to you, oh Lord. This is how insignificant I am. Okay, so when we, do it with this intention, with this understanding, it becomes so powerful. And that is, in my opinion, what I mean by going deeper. Number 5 is, I feel really happy when I see other spiritual people striving and I find success in their spiritual journey. Do I get inspired by them, or do I feel, envious? Number 6, my spiritual goals are more exciting than my material goals. Okay, we all have some levels of material goal, but are my spiritual goal more exciting? Do you think my spiritual goals should be more exciting than my material goals? Certainly, yes, right? Because our material goals, yes, they are somehow finite. They are somehow short-lived. They are somehow only for this particular life, or maybe for X number of years. And for example, if you're a corporate citizen, then what you're doing is your material goals are based on, reaching an epitome in the organization, reaching a certain, level in the organization. But when you're talking about spiritual goal, then it is not just finitely limited to this particular life. It's also going all the way to our next lives. And it's not only about myself, it's about sharing this with others. It's about uplifting others, right? We should be caring enough to actually bring this to others, because we have sort of seen the truth and we want others to also see the truth. And therefore, are my spiritual goals more exciting than the material goals that I have? And finally, on a scale of 1 to 5, ask ourselves, do I have a great hope that I'll make it to spiritual perfection in this life? Or just like how I have been focused on, just resonating with the material energy, with Maya, and just focused on Maya this past many lives. Or can I transcend into at least giving this life to Krishna? Okay, I'll take a pause here to see if you have any questions or any realization before I give you 2 to 3 minutes to do a quick check. Anush Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. I've marked myself on all these 7 questions.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else, any questions or any realizations? Once again, the caveat is that I'm struggling. Okay. Maybe like some of you are already beyond the struggling position. You're already more advanced. So this is like a check which somehow resonated with me. And therefore, I'm just sharing it with you. I'm not saying that, oh, I've like, I'm already at 35 points. No, we are struggling. My wife and I, we are like struggling on a daily basis. Okay. There are times when, the alarm clock will go off 5, 6 times and we are still, oh, okay. Today, never mind. Let's cheat a little bit. Stay a little bit longer. Or we just need to do the arati, finish it up fast. Finishing the number of prescribed rounds we have. Oh, finally we finished it. Okay, any other points? Let's see who is in the class. Everyone is so quiet. Oh, there's a good number of participants today. Wonderful. Very inspiring. Lalita Mataji, what do you think? So, by the way, Lalita Mataji is joining us for the yatra to Ayodhya, to Govardhan Eco Village, and to Shukratal. So Shukratal is the place where whatever we are learning for the past few months, this was spoken by Parikshit Maharaj. By Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj in the assembly of the sages. So Krishna willing, Lalita Mataji will be going there. Yes, Lalita Mataji. I hope you are excited about the upcoming trip.
Yes, I'm very excited. Okay. And this self-check questionnaire is like making me think back again, and it's a very good thing. It's to check me where I am and where I should go to. And some areas I'm okay, I'm good at it, and some I'm not. So I think I have to work on it quite a bit more. But it's a journey, it's a process, and I'll keep going.
Okay. I see Manoj is here. Manoj, are you in Lucknow right now?
Yes.
Wow, I'm inspired. And you're going to Ayodhya tomorrow, huh?
Today afternoon train.
Wow. Please pray for all of us, huh?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Thank you, Manoj ji. Okay. Yes. Wow, this is like so early for you. All right. Rasija Mataji, you are new in this. Yeah, it's just.
Hello, Prabhuji. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, this is, I feel this is such a wonderful list. I've scored myself, but item 3 and 4 is something that I feel like is a pursuit. It varies on a daily basis. Some days you're clear about your ultimate goal, and I'm so grateful that I've actually I can begin to understand this item 3, that I can think about my ultimate goal of life. It's very, very new, and it overwhelms me.
Yeah.
The last one is something that, while all other 6 are items that have actions that you can do, and then you can, at the end of those actions, you can make these statements, right? But the last one is something that I'm not able to wrap my head around. Spiritual perfection, like I feel like I can't even begin to understand what that is, to even say that there is hope for it. So maybe if you can share a bit of what that means, the last one. Yeah.
Can I open my heart to everybody?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes,
okay.
Please. Yes,
so, 3 days ago, my Guru Maharaj called me up and he asked me, how are you doing? How's everything, etc. How are you engaging yourself? And I just shared with him the programs which, we have been doing for the Chinese and the Westerners for who are attending the Kirtan programs. And then, last 2 weeks ago, we started this new course, just sharing, very simple philosophy on who you are, why does bad things happen to good people, those kind of very light philosophy, which all of you are already masters in. And I was sharing about the house program, which we had, we had a nice group of about 80 to 90 people coming. And at the end of it, I just told Guru Maharaj that, Guru Maharaj, we just, frankly, there's we're just doing this without any expectations that somebody will become a devotee, that somebody will progress, or somebody will, take this up seriously, etc. The mood is that, yeah, I've learned this, I'm excited, and therefore I want to share this. So there's no expectation that someone will become a devotee. The old paradigm was that, oh, no, we need to make everyone a devotee. But then I feel that no, that is actually in Krishna's hand. We feel that Krishna is the ultimate doer. And therefore, what gives us the right to think that, oh, by whatever little action that I'm doing, I'm expecting someone to become a devotee? No. And therefore, I told Guru Maharaj, no, actually, we are just doing the barest minimum to just share this. I don't even want to use the word preaching, because that's like a very ugly, not a very nice word. So, no, we're just sharing this, in the hope that, if Krishna so desires. So we're not attached to the final result. And Guru Maharaj was so pleased. He says, yes, that should be the way. And therefore, coming back to your, he says, don't be attached that, at the end of the day, I need this person to become a devotee, etc. No, that's between them and Krishna. Nothing to do with you. So I felt really nice. And that's why I'm opening up to you. But coming back to Rasija Mataji's question, I have a great hope that I'll make it to spiritual perfection in this life. My hope is there. At the same time, I'm not so attached to it. Right? The hope is there, yes. Right? If there's no hope, then there will be no inspiration towards doing it. No. So my hope is there that, yes, whatever I'm doing, at the end of the day, I hope I don't have to come back into this material world. I hope that even if I come back into this material world, I have this chance to become a devotee of the Lord, or I'm born in a devotee's family, or I become an instrument in the service of the Lord, right? So the hope is there, and the rest is dependent on Krishna. The rest is dependent on Krishna. So the hope is there, but I'm not having that grungy feeling that I must achieve this. No, just the hope is there. The rest is between Krishna and, if he so desires. All right. I mean, look at what Bharat Maharaj was. He was like the best emperor in the world. All right. And he was so totally renounced from his family activities, the entire material possessions, right? With a clear intention, with a great hope that he will make it when he go to Badrika Ashram. But yet, things may not pan out as we want. And therefore, Rasija Mataji, you just do your part, and the Lord will reciprocate if he so desires. Okay.
Prabhuji, the same mood happens in, like we learned during Damodar also, that we should do our endeavor, and then it's the Lord's, it's the Lord's mercy which will help us bind him. That's what we learned the entire Damodar month also.
Exactly. Yeah. You just give your endeavor. If the endeavor is not there, then don't expect that mercy to also come. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So everyone done it? Okay, so I just simply hope that this questionnaire will give us that clear intention of wanting to progress, and don't just wait for Sunday to come together to read the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita. Every day, just try to read a little bit, listen. Best is just to listen to a lecture, because the listening is going to be, somehow activating the superconscious entity in our heart, the Lord in our heart, the Paramatma in our heart, and therefore he can, if he so desire, become the washing machine to clean all of, the lifetimes of dirt in our hearts. All right. Okay, so last week we ended at this point where I asked all of you, what's your perception of Maya or material energy? Right? It was a major paradigm shift when we realized that, always we used to say like, Maya is the one which is making things difficult for me. But let's look at it the other way around. That's her job, right? Her job as a gatekeeper to ensure that we are good enough to go back to the spiritual world. And her job is to ensure that. And therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur He gives a radical perspective, stating that one should have faith that the material energy and Maya is a great devotee. She's a devotee with great devotion. And therefore, Maya Shakti or material energy is not just a mundane, profane, or polluted reality, but she's a Vaishnavi of the highest order, right? And therefore, she's already deeply engaged in the service of the Lord. So Durga Devi, she's already so much engaged in the service of the Lord. And this insight shifts our usual view of matter. Instead of thinking, this house is material, but I am purifying this house. So instead of thinking we are purifying this material energy or the house by engaging it in the service of Krishna, the reality is that the house is already, all right, the house is already engaged in the service of the Lord. This insight essentially purifies our usual view of matter. Instead of thinking we are purifying the material energy by engaging in the service of the Lord, the reality is the matter is already engaged in divine service. It is we who are being graced with the opportunity to serve through Maya. By Maya's grace. Therefore, everything is already connected with the Lord, but we are getting this grace to actually, be connected in this process. Okay. Is Ravi Prabhu here? Because he's able to articulate things really nicely, and therefore I want to ask him to, maybe share his point. Ravi Prabhu, you there? Okay, anyone else want to, maybe give a realization on this point? Therefore, material energy as a pure devotee is already fully surrendered to the sweet absolute. It is we who are not there yet, and thus we are the ones who must catch up, striving to align ourselves with the same level of devotion. And therefore, this perspective really, redefines how we approach the material world, inviting us to see the sacredness inherent in everything around us. Okay. Later on right now we are in canto number 3, but when we progress to canto number 11, canto number 12, that's where we will actually see that, these 25 elements in the material world, okay, how they can be seen as actually part of the Lord's energy. Anush Prabhu, any realization on this?
Yeah, this is a very good point, Prabhuji, which I've not thought before, that the matter is already in the service of the Lord. That we that we have not learned till now also. And until now, that we were thinking we should be more spiritual and not be attached to matter, but we never thought that matter itself is it's come from the Lord and is doing a service to the Lord. Like how Brahma also for the service of Lord, he created ignorance, he created all the negative elements also. Okay, so likewise, even we never thought about this about matter. So this is a very good point.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, can I try?
Yes, Mataji.
So what I understand is like Maya Devi is no one else but Lakshmi Devi, right, Prabhuji?
Lakshmi, Durga Devi.
Yeah. So she's when Vishnu Bhagwan is sleeping in Chirnidra, she's just doing this service of Lordship. So her nature is, I mean, she's the material world actually, or she's in material. She's the one which lies in all material things. So what my understanding is, she's doing her job, like she's there. Krishna has blessed her that all this Vaibhav, whatever we have in the world, will come from her. So what I feel, she's already doing her job. It's us who are taking it otherwise.
Wonderful. Thank you. Right. Actually, the meaning of Maya is also grace. So in Sanskrit, the word Maya does not only refer to material energy, but it's also translated as grace. Okay. So therefore, through the grace of matter, we are given the opportunity to engage our senses and existence in the divine service. Okay. Wonderful. So this morning, when I woke up, so I have this habit of making the bed. Okay, it's just a good thing. When you wake up after your bath, immediately you make the bed, you will feel that, wow, I've achieved something in my day. Okay, this is something I learned from this General Arthur, okay, World War II guy. So then I saw a pillow on the floor, and therefore I wanted to keep it to one side. And the first instinct which I had was, just kick it to the side. And then I remember Gopal Prabhu saying that, don't do that. Even a basket, if you want to move it, use your hands to move it with full respect. Because if we start with doing it on the basket, on the pillow, on anything which is material, then that consciousness will also come when we are dealing with other people. And I found it so nice. So this morning when I was about to kick the pillow to one side, I remembered what Gopal Prabhu said. He said, don't do that. Okay. Anyway, it's a segue. Okay, so, right now I just want you to take a moment and emphasize to ourselves that we are actually a spirit soul and we are not this body. All of us come with these upadis, this false ego that, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a corporate citizen, I'm a managing director, I'm a, woman wing leader, I'm a principal in the school, etc. But just sit down and remove all of that upadis and just tell ourselves that I'm a spirit soul. And my final ultimate purpose in life is to just reconnect back with the Lord, to serve the Lord. Okay? All these upadis, all these layers which I have, they are meant to assist me in this journey. All right. So then going back to Bhagavatam right now. So Devavati is listening to her son because while she was serving her husband, right, she could not get all of these jewels from him. And therefore he gave her the benediction that your son will actually come and give you all of these jewels. And therefore now Kapila Dev is explaining this to when one is completely cleansed of the purities of lust and greed produced from the upadi, or the false identification of the body as I and bodily possessions as mine, one's mind become purified. In that pure state, he or she descends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress. Okay, so therefore, what Kapila Dev is explaining, what the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explaining is that somehow or other we need to remove these impurities of lust and greed, okay, from the false identification of the body as I, etc. And we know, right? We know, Shalini Mataji always emphasized this in the class, that the moment we engage in spiritual activity, the test or the barometer of our spirituality, of our devotional service, is we become more and more detached from the material, right? Which means we become less and less, greedy for the material. Greed for the material is actually lust and also greed, So that is a solid barometer to know whether we are chanting, we are reading, whether whatever we are hearing is really working like a washing machine cleaning up our hearts. Okay. And therefore, you see, whatever we have learned earlier on in the Bhagavad Gita classes, in the first 3 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it all comes together as a reinforcement. Okay. Next. So Srila Prabhupada says, in the beginning, Lord Kapila Dev has said that perfect yoga enables one to descend the platform of material distress and happiness. Therefore, perfect yoga is actually, we know it is not just the other forms of yoga. Krishna explains in the last verse of chapter number 6 that amongst all yogis, the best yogi is the one who connects with me in devotional service. And therefore, Kapila Dev is again emphasizing that through bhakti yoga, okay, the perfect yoga, one transcends the platform of material distress and happiness. Does it mean to say that if we engage in bhakti with full efficacy, then we will not feel, the distresses in life will not come? No, the distresses will still come. But we will have that aptitude, right? We will have that fortitude. We will have that strength to easily overcome these distresses, because we know that nothing happens without the will of the Lord. And therefore, because I'm fully surrendered in Bhakti Yoga, or I'm trying to surrender in Bhakti Yoga, the Lord is very kind. Whatever could have been worse, the Lord has actually reduced it for me. And this is just like a token kind of distress, which otherwise would have been so much greater. Okay. And whenever happiness happens, we are also very, very thankful to the Lord that, Lord, this material life is like ebb and flow. There are times when happiness comes, and there are times when distresses come. And, we are also quite calm and not overly joyed when this happiness comes, because we know that this happiness, this material happiness, has a finite life. After some time, it's going to go. When it goes away, possibly distresses will come in. Okay? And therefore, for us to get to the stage of, being able to appreciate that although distresses will come in, but, I know that the Lord is with me. And this is like a token given to me in this earth school to learn from this particular incidents. Okay. So Rasija Mataji, you are from Mumbai, and the Juhu temple, there's a solid book which explains how we acquired the Juhu temple. So there was this Mr. Nair who actually owned the entire Juhu property. Okay. And the agreement was already made to acquire the Juhu property. It was like really a bad area, okay, mosquito infested, snake infested, etc. But Prabhupada could actually see that this is going to be like the hub of the Krishna conscious movement. And therefore, he got his disciples to buy that property. And Mr. Nair, when everything was agreed, the contracts were signed, etc., he started playing some tricks with the devotees. Okay, he was trying to sell it again to someone else, and he did lots of hera fairy with Prabhupada. So much so that he even got the state government to demolish that temporary structure which was already built. And therefore, Prabhupada told all the devotees that we have actually invited Radha Ras Bihari, right, to this place. And therefore, there's no way we are going to be giving up this place, because we have ethically and legally gotten this place. Right? So through the Gundas, through the government, the Gundas actually came in and they came in to just demolish the temporary structure. And then the devotees went out to Thakre, right? And Thakre, what he did was he called up the police force, the commissioner of police, and whoever he could, and he said, stop this, otherwise it's going to be a big thing. And therefore, when Thakre actually passed away a few years ago, the devotees were so in gratitude to him, they actually went to his house and they did kirtan for the whole evening until he was, finally cremated. The point I'm trying to say is that, the difficulties which the devotees, which Srila Prabhupada went through, so much so that the devotees was telling Prabhupada is just a piece of land, let's just give it up. And Prabhupada said, no, I've actually invited Radha Ras Bihari to come over and stay in this place. How can I take away their accommodation? Right? How much difficulties which Srila Prabhupada went through, it's just unbelievable. Okay? And therefore, don't think that when we get into spirituality, all our problems will go away. No, 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 no. What does Queen Kunti says? Let those problems come again and again and again. Right? Because whenever the problems come, I know that you are with me. So our senses must be engaged in devotional service to the Lord. Anuj Prabhu, I think someone is unmuted. Can you just mute? Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah, this is the process. The mind must have some engagement. If we don't bring, we have also learned in the Bhagavad Gita classes that if we try to artificially renounce, right, what's going to happen is it creates a void, and nature abhors a vacuum, a void, and therefore something else has to come in. If we don't put spirituality in, we may go back into our old habits. Okay, therefore the mind cannot be wakened. Right? Of course, there are some foolish attempts to try to make the mind waken or void, but that's not possible. The only process that can purify the mind is to engage it in Krishna. The mind must be engaged. If we engage our mind in Krishna, naturally the consciousness becomes fully purified, and there's no chance of the entrance of material desire and greed. Wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Right? And again in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said Krishna Surya Sama. Sama is also a Sanskrit word, means same. It's also used in the Malay language. Sama means same. All right. So Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Adakar Andakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Adhikar. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's stated so nicely. The Lord is just like the effulgent sun. Consequently, wherever the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present, there cannot be darkness or ignorance. Okay, so don't just try to artificially renounce from an activity, but put Krishna there. Okay? Fill the void with Krishna. Because wherever Krishna is, there cannot be darkness. And again, there's one more verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which explains that, Krishna Buli say, Jiva Anadi Bahir Mukha, Ate Maya, Tare Deya, Samsara Dukha. Forgetting Krishna, the living entity has been attracted by the external feature of Maya from time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy, Maya, gives him all kind of misery in this material life in the hope that he will get tired and want to go back to his constitutional position of serving Krishna. Okay? So when the living entity forgets his constitutional position as an eternal servant of Krishna, he's immediately entrapped by the illusory external energy. The living entity is originally part and parcel of Krishna and is therefore the superior energy of Krishna. He's endowed with inconceivable, minute energy. Right? We have this minute independence that works inconceivably within the body. However, the living entity forgets his position and therefore he's always situated in material energy. And in the Prema Vivarta, okay, another wonderful scripture by one of the sages. So very nicely explained. Krishna Bahirmukha Hana Boga Vancha Kare Nikatasta Maya Tare Japitya Jatare. As long as jivas focus on their attention to Krishna, they maintain reverence for him. However, when they turn their attention away from Krishna, they desire material enjoyment. Therefore, Krishna's deluding potency or Maya, who is standing near them, then binds them in her embrace. Okay, so since Krishna is the Supreme Father, his affection for the living entity is eternal. When we decided, all of us, when we decided that we wanted to enjoy independently from the Lord, then the Lord created the material world. But he's so nice. He has got so much of love. He says, even if you want to, enjoy independently, you want to leave me, it's okay. I will never leave you. And therefore, I've expanded as Paramatma and I'll join you. Just like a father, like a mother, right? When your kids are getting into adolescence, right? When the kids are getting, a little bit to a teenage age, they will be like a little rebellious. But do you just leave them? No. You are still like a hawk on them. Similarly, Krishna. When the living entity wants to become Krishna himself or imitate Krishna, he falls down into this material world. Since Krishna is the Supreme Father, his affection for the living entity is eternal. And when the living entity falls into this material world, the Supreme Lord, through his Swamsa expansion or Paramatma, keeps company with the living entity. In this way, the living entity may someday return back home, back to Godhead. It's so nice, isn't it? Okay, the Lord doesn't leave us. But what about us? Right? We forget him. He has been with us in our hearts all this lifetime after lifetime. Okay. Instead of seeing him, appreciating him, expressing our gratitude, we are expressing our gratitude to his material energy. Okay, then Kapila Dev continues to explain to his mother, perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless, if and only if, he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For that is the only auspicious part. See, again, rubber stamped. Kapila Muni has explained, cannot be any other way. The rest of the ways are just progressions, but the ultimate way is by devotional service. Otherwise, what you can do is you are like taking the steps, okay? Becoming a karma yogi, and then jnana, etc. Okay? So, right? Otherwise, it's like, taking the steps. But what devotional service does is it's like an elevator. Immediately, you can engage in devotional service and attain the Lord. That knowledge and renunciation are never perfect in any other yoga system unless it is joined by devotional service. Let's explain. Okay, that means anything which you do, just dovetail it with Krishna consciousness. Right? If you are eating, before you eat, offer that food as bhoga to the Lord, and then it comes back to you as prasad. Whatever you are earning, use some parts of that, okay, while you are using it to maintain your material body, your family, etc. Cultivate them into devotees. Use your talent in the service of the Lord. Okay. So, for example, there was this amazing devotee, okay, in the 1970s, white man, Caucasian. He became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He was an architect. And what he did was, he assisted Srila Prabhupada in becoming the architect for the Vrindavan temple, for the Hong Kong temple, and for some other temples in the US and in Europe. He was like the architect. Today, if you go to Vrindavan, Krishna Balram Mandir is so beautiful. All right. He was the architect of it. After Srila Prabhupada left, he wavered a little bit and he left the movement. But exactly 9 months before he died, when he was down with cancer, he remembered all the service he had been engaged in because of the mercy of the devotees and Srila Prabhupada. He was staying in Hong Kong, and he told himself that, enough of the material world, enough of all of this. I just want to go back to Vrindavan. I want to just surrender back to the Lord. I just want to live my life just like how I was, assisting in devotional service. And he went back to Vrindavan. He stayed in Vrindavan for just a few more days, and he left his body with devotees doing kirtan, reading the scriptures, etc., next to him. right? So you see, Krishna never forgets his promise, right? That whatever you do, it's a permanent investment. Whatever devotional service you do is a permanent investment. Okay.
Prabhuji, this, like this sloka is the answer for the last question, the seventh question, which you had, taken up.
Okay. Which is perfection in self cannot be attained by any other kind of yogi unless he engages. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Right. So as I explained earlier on, the last verse in the first section of Bhagavad Gita, which is 6.47, explains that amongst all yogis, the one with great faith and please, who thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. All right, who is my bhakta? He's the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he's the highest of all. Krishna is saying, that is my opinion. Kapila Dev has said this, Krishna is also saying it. Okay, so this particular verse 6.47 is so beautiful. I remember 2 years ago, I gave a class in Gauranga Center on this verse. I had to do a lot of research to give this class. So yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. Right? So it's like, going through the different stages of yoga. Finally, you realize that, wow, whatever I've been doing, I could have just taken the elevator and gone into Bhakti Yoga. So those of you who are new into this, note that actually you are not new into this. You must have started some lifetimes ago. That Shrukriti must have been there, right? Somehow, you must have had the association of a pure devotee. And what you're doing is you're just continuing in this lifetime. Okay, so, these sadhus are so important. And now it's a wonderful segue because Kapila Muni is going to be explaining to his mother the efficacy of devotional service if we are following a pure devotee or a sadhu. How this entire process can be leapfrogged. It can energize us. It can provide us with so much of additional inspiration. It can purify us if we listen to such sadhus. Okay? Titiksava karunika shurda sarva dehinam ajata satravaha shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushana. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant. Tolerant is titiksavaha. Merciful means is karunika. So he's tolerant, he's merciful, and he's friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he's peaceful, he abides by the scripture, and all his characteristics are sublime. This point about he's merciful and tolerant, he's so merciful that actually in the Padma Purana, it's explained that, for one who is not a devotee, who has a tendency of blaspheming the holy names, we should not even share any knowledge with them. Right? You're not supposed to be, teaching them about spirituality, etc. Because what they are going to be doing is they're going to be blaspheming. Right? They are going to do more aparat, not only to themselves, but also to, others. So therefore, it's best to stay away from this kind of people. But, the sadhus, they are so merciful. They say, never mind, let me suffer. But I still want to share this in the hope that they will change. See, that is the tolerance of a devotee. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he's tolerant. If you look at Bangladesh, if I were living in Bangladesh and if I know that the lives of devotees will be so difficult, I will just be, practicing quietly, not even going to the temple, etc. The lives of devotees, it's so difficult, right? This huge groups of folks from the other religion would just come in, storm the temple, break the deities, okay, and they will even sometimes kill the devotees. But you know what? The devotee continues to be tolerant. A few sannyasis have been killed, a few brahmacharis have been killed in Bangladesh. But still, the devotees are saying, never mind. Right? Just like a soldier who dies on the warfield and he goes back to the spiritual world, or he goes to the heavenly planet. Let me just serve, If Krishna so desires, let me serve and leave this material body, just assisting in the propagation of Krishna consciousness. That's the mercy. I mean, look at the devotees who are chanting, doing Harinam on the streets, who are dancing on the streets. You think it's easy to do this? It requires a lot of swallowing of the ego, dancing with bed sheets around you. You're not even wearing proper, proper pants and shirt. You're wearing a dhoti. People are thinking, what is this bed sheet you're wearing around yourself? They are like, going all out in the hope that these material citizens can just hear the holy names of the Lord, and if Krishna so desires, they can start their devotional service, their devotional life. How merciful the devotees are. It's not easy. There was once when I was like 19 years old. Those days, Singapore, once a month, the entire Orchard Road will be closed. So the devotees, what they will do is, it's like a street party, it's like a street party. And what we used to do is, we will go with our wampus, the big karatals, with our mridanga, and we used to dance from one part of Orchard Road to the other part of Orchard Road. Okay, this was in year 1993. And I used to go there, but I used to be like really distancing myself, because what like my classmates, my university classmates, my friend, my relatives see me dancing. But the rest of the devotees, some of them were like, teachers, some of them were managing directors in big companies. They just didn't even bother, okay, of this material upadhi. They were like so much into it, they just wanted to dance and give these holy names to others, and they were like getting everyone involved. That is the mercy of a devotee. And I was like, trying as much as possible, seeing around, nobody recognized me. And guess what? The next day, all of us appeared on the Straits Times. Front page, devotees of Krishna doing Harinam on Orchard Road. Okay, this was in 1993 or 1992 or something like that. Anyway, so the devotees, they have got no enemies. They see everyone as a devotee of the Lord with the potential. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago with Lord Nityananda, Nityananda went to the worst rowdies in Navadip and told them, just chant the names of the Lord, you will be purified. And while drinking liquor, Jadai and Madai, they took that clay pot and they just smashed it on Lord Nityananda's head. And Lord Nityananda said, no, you don't worry. I know you have harmed me, but just continue. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so upset. He was about to let go of his chakra. And then Lord Nityananda came and, begged him, don't do this, don't do this. You came as the most merciful incarnation, and you're not supposed to, harm them. And then, they were like those drunkards, rowdies. They became the best devotees in Navadip. Even Prabhupada, when Prabhupada survived 2 heart attacks at the age of 70, he went to Boston Harbor. From Boston Harbor, he went to New York. He stayed at, the Skid Row, the worst place on New York. He only had 12 rupees with him and a box of Bhagavatam. And he did not say that, I'm bringing Bhagavatam with me. the Bhagavatam which I have translated and put purports to, or included my purports to, Bhaktivedanta purports. He said, no, the Bhagavatam is going to the US and I am just serving the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada just used to sit under the tree and used to chant the holy names, and one by one, the hippies, they got so attracted to the holy names. And one of them said, Prabhupada, why don't you come and stay with us? So Prabhupada said, okay, I'll come and stay with you. And Prabhupada's mission was, maybe these hippies, they can get converted and, they can become nice devotees, and the instructions of my Guru Maharaj will start manifesting. Yes, that happened. But at the same time, one of the hippies, returned at night and he was so high on drugs, he actually beat Srila Prabhupada up. And Prabhupada had to run away from that house. Tolerant, merciful, and friendly. That's the feature of a sadhu. Okay, so like this, you will see, so many times, devotees have been attacked, etc., but they are just so merciful. So Srila Prabhupada writes, someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. Right? So they may not like it. That's their disease. But the sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes the devotees are personally attacked with violence. Just recall the life of Jesus Christ who was crucified. Haridas Thakur, a Muslim who became, the propagator of the holy names. He was chanting from day to night, and he became known as Haridas Thakur. So for those of you who have been to Jagannath Puri, I think you have been to Haridas Thakur's Samadhi. When he died, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally carried him, right? Bathed him in the waters of the Arabian Sea, and then brought him and, did the Samadhi for him. So Haridas Thakur, because he was a Muslim, he was caned in 22 marketplaces by the Mohammedans. And I spoke about Nityananda. He was being attacked by Jagai and Madai. So a devotee is so merciful because he's the ever well-wisher of all entities. And Kapila Muni is explaining this over here. So not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities such as cats and dogs, they also have material body. And the devotee of the Lord is also merciful to them. The cats, the dogs, the trees, etc. They treat all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. So, yeah, devotee is not just merciful to the humans, also to the animals. Then Kapila Muni continues. So time check, Anuj Prabhu, we have another 20 more minutes. Okay, so Mad Ashraya Katha Mristha. Shrinvanti means listening. Kathayanti cha. Tapanti vividhas. Tapa. Naitan Madgata Chetashaha. And constantly engage in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. So the same verse with the same, not same direct, same verse, but the same is explained in the Chatur Shloki in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that my devotees in 10.8, right, they are constantly, engaged in katha or discussions about me. It gives them so much of bliss. Purport by Prabhupada. There are multifarious miseries in the material existence, those pertaining to the body, the mind, those imposed by other living entities, and those imposed by natural disturbances like pandemic, etc. But a sadhu is not disturbed by such miserable conditions. For example, during the pandemic, the devotees, taking all the right precautions, they kept on serving lakhs and lakhs of meals to, to the public in India. Okay, even in Singapore, right? Even in Singapore, I recall there were like 400 Bangladeshis who were trapped in their dormitories. They couldn't go out. They couldn't cook. And therefore, they were like asked to eat whatever food was supplied to them. And, some of the devotees in our congregation, they took this service of cooking, bringing the prasadam, and serving all the Bangladeshi workers. How did we do it? Right? So the food was like packed 300 to 400 packets, and then each of us was given the task or the service of leaving it at the dormitory, having a safe distance, and then that prasad was then given to the Bangladeshi devotees. When I was actually going to one of the industrial estates, one of the Bangladeshi devotees, he cried and told me that before this prasadam was actually served, we had no food. We were only given meat. Was no choice. And what we had to do was we had to remove. We fasted, but it reached a stage where we couldn't take it anymore. And therefore, we had to remove the meat and eat the rice with the gravy. That was the type of situation they were in. Okay, they were not very, very, and therefore, it's sad sometimes what material disturbances can do. Okay, so like this, the sadhus, they do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts and their pastimes, and they're always constantly chanting and hearing. So a sadhu is not disturbed by such material conditions because his mind is always filled with Krishna consciousness, and thus he does not like to talk anything but the activities of the Lord. And then Kapila Muni continues, "O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachments. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment." Okay, so that's the power of, so Sabri was in the pastimes of Lord Ram. She ran away from her wedding because there was so much of animal sacrifice going on, and she was something like that, if I recall, and therefore she ran away from the wedding, and she hid and stayed on the trees where the sadhus were staying. At night, she used to, go and clean up after the sadhus have finished all their sacrifices. She used to listen to the katha, and then one day the Guruji saw her. And Guruji said that, okay, you can stay a little bit further. And because of that association, she became so blessed. And the Guru said that, I'm going to be leaving this material world and going back to the spiritual world. All of these sages are going to go back. But you know what? You just stay here because Lord Ram will come. And therefore Sabri was just waiting, decorating the pathway, right? And, plucking the berries and waiting when the Lord will come. And when the Lord came, she was in so much of intense devotional desire, so much of love for the Lord, so much of devotion for the Lord that, she actually even tasted the berries to see whether they are sweet or not before offering it to the Lord. And Lakshman was just wondering, what is she up to? And what did Ram do? Ram said, yes, so tasty. Okay, that's the power of the association of sadhus. We also know that Narada Muni, Narada Muni was the son in his past life, son of the maid servant. The maid servant was the one who would clean up after all the Bhakti Vedantas had finished their katha, the fire sacrifices, the havans, etc. That was her work. And Narada Muni, in that past life, he used to go and help the mother to serve this. And at the end of it, with the permission of these sadhus, he will say, whatever remnants, can I partake the remnants of whatever you have eaten? And the sadhus would, graciously give him the remnants. So like this, he became Narada Muni. Okay? And, very, very recently, I spoke to you about the examples of the worst of humans who were attached to the worst activities. There was like a 19-year-old boy who was so much into drugs. And in France, when Prabhupada was going for a walk, okay, there are many, many, many cases. And he actually ran out to touch the feet of Prabhupada and say, please save me. I cannot save myself anymore. I'm like attached to these intoxications. And then the disciples of Prabhupada said, no, move away. And Prabhupada said, no, please feed him. Let him come to the temple. Feed him. Just feed him prasadam. Don't give him any service to do. Just ask him to chant and have prasad. Chant and have prasad. And he became such an amazing devotee. Such an amazing devotee. He was writing purports on all the Bengali literatures. So you see, that's the mercy of Prabhupada. That's the mercy of a pure devotee. And Kapila Muni is explaining this as a primer to what was actually supposed to come. Right? A devotee should learn one should associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. The process is most purifying. I do not know about you, but last Sunday, when all of you had left my house, I felt so good. I felt so good because, Devaki Prabhu was singing. I had the amazing, association with all of you, with the devotees, with the Harinam, with the Hari Katha, with the Prasadam. I just felt so good. Okay. So this process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction. And by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up their material sense gratification, which is actually the cause of all our sufferings. Okay. Wonderful. And then Kapila Muni continues. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti hirt karna rasayana kathaha touch josanat as apavarga vartamani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukra misyanti. In the association of pure devotees, discussions of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so pleasing and satisfying to the ear and to the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced in the path of liberation. And thereafter, he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. The real devotion and devotional service then begins. The first point is that one must seek the association of persons who are Krishna conscious and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. Okay? Remember, just by reading like that, cannot. One must give up the association of material persons and seek the association of devotees. Because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Just wanted to share my own personal story over here. I mean, I'm still struggling. I'm still scratching the surface of devotional service. But there were many times when I started reading the Bhagavad Gita, but I could not proceed beyond 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. Frankly telling you, I could not. Until I started hearing from Keshav Swami Maharaj. Right? And then that gave me that desire. And then, I wanted to do something in Lakshminarayan temple. I reached this devotee who was also teaching in Malaysia's Lakshminarayan temple and told him, can you, maybe once a month come over and teach this? And he says, no, you have to do it. He said, what's stopping you? And by the mercy of that devotee, and by mercy of Keshav Swami Maharaj, and by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, I started reading the Bhagavad Gita. I started listening to the lectures a little bit more intentionally, and therefore I was able to, somehow share those slides, share the learnings, etc. with you. It's just about sharing. But it's because of them. Otherwise, I would not have been able to do this. I could not even proceed beyond 7 pages, 5 pages. No. Every time I start, I'll stop. I could never go beyond, the introduction chapters. It was so shameful. But the association of pure devotees, listening to Harikatha. And I've not even met Keshav Swami. No, I did not meet him, but I was just listening. And he was so kind. He told me, no, I'll give you the materials. I'll give you all my lectures. You just listen and connect the dots. And that's what Renuka, Mataji, and I, we used to do. Every day we will sit down and just listen to his class. Listen, and associate with his Vani. And that assisted us in a big way. Yeah, so, this association is so important. But at the same time, sometimes, our Shukriti from our past life can also make wonders. I'll tell you about the story of Keshav Swami's Guru Maharaj. Keshav Swami's Guru Maharaj is a Western-bodied devotee. He passed away last year. And he had a girlfriend. Okay, he had a girlfriend. He was living with his girlfriend. And they had a beautiful dog, but just by chance she had named the dog Krishna. Funny story, but true story. And one day the dog disappeared, okay, in the Switzerland woods. And she told her boyfriend, you please go and look for the dog. And intensely for 3 days, this Prabhu was all out shouting, Krishna, Krishna, where are you? Krishna, where are you? And the rest is history. He became one of, my internet is unstable. Anuj Prabhu, just tell me once you can hear me or you cannot hear me.
Oh, yes, it's okay, Prabhu. It's okay now.
Yeah. So then he met devotees, etc. But he must have started in his past life, but just by calling out Krishna, Krishna, with so much of intense desire, just the name Krishna brought about a paradigm shift in his heart. And then he met the devotees and he became one of our spiritual warriors. He became the temple president in ISKCON Vrindavan. And at that time, the Vrindavan mafia, right, was causing so much of problems. One day, Maharaj was actually having a bath, and one of these mafia members came into the temple, came into the dormitory and shot him, right, in close proximity. And and his devotional service became even more intensified. He then took sannyas, and he passed on a few years ago. But some of his realizations are amazing. I just love listening to him. His name is Kadamba Kanana Maharaj. So you can just do Kadamba Kanana Maharaj and Kirtan, and some of his Kirtans are just so out of this world. Okay, I'll take a pause here. I'll stop here for this week and see if you have any questions, any realizations. Mahesh Prabhu, so nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining. Sneha Mataji, thank you very much for joining. Shamugam Prabhu, welcome back. Krishan Prabhu, thank you. Bhagwan Ji, Bhagwan Das, thank you. Rasija Mataji, thank you. You are inspiring all of us. So Rasija Mataji is actually from, I met her in Ceylon Road Temple, and she came for a few classes. And Rasija Mataji had some of the most sharp, intelligent questions. And because of her questions, the other participants actually benefited in a big, 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 big way. And simultaneously, she also knew someone who was coming to Gauranga Center. Through her association, Rasija Mataji is now coming on a weekly basis to the temple. So all glories to her. Vidu Mataji, thank you very much. Nice to see you last week in our place. Ankur Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Lalita Mataji, looking forward to our yatra together to Ayodhya, to Shukratal. Krishna willing, we will do a live class from Shukratal, and we will do a live class from Brahmapuri, where Narada Muni had discussed the Bhagavatam with the 4 Kumaras. And then in Shukratal, Parikshit Maharaj was listening to Sukadev Goswami. So Krishna willing, we'll go all of them. Manoj Prabhu, thank you very much for joining from, this is Manoj Gulati, used to be in Singapore. He's now in Bangalore. Postdoctorate fellow. Shefali Madaji, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for bringing the prasad last week. Lalita Mataji, Madhu Mataji, Hare Krishna. Karuna Mataji, Hare Krishna. Deepa Mataji, Hare Krishna. Great to hear that you are also joining us for the yatra. Please try to uplift us, and we will try to uplift you. We will try, but you can uplift us more. Priyanka Mataji, Shalini Mataji, Anuj Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Any questions, any realization? We have 1 or 2 more minutes. Priyanka Mataji, your decoration is just background.
Hello.
Sorry, your decoration is at my altar right now.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. We cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just saying this is the Lord.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had muted myself. Any other questions? No questions, so we'll call it a day. Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Next week we still have a class, and then the following week, I will keep you informed whether we can actually do it or not. Okay.
Anwar Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Anyone happens to be in India, want to join us in Ayodhya, you can come and join us. If you are in Rishikesh during that time, you can also join us, but not in Mumbai, because Mumbai is like we are like 120 kilometers away in a place called Govardhan Eco Village. Rasija Mataji, the next time when you go back home, please go to Govardhan Eco Village. It's a sanctuary, it's a sustainable farming, sustainable living sanctuary. Hundreds of acres next to Juhi Chwala's farm. So the devotees have cultivated the land. They have made it, sustainable living even for all of the villagers. And whatever you actually see in Vrindavan is replicated in a miniature way in this piece of land. So the 7 the Goswami temples are all there in Govardhan Eco Village. Yamuna is there. Govardhan Hill is there. And it's an amazing experience. So a lot of devotees are actually coming with us this time around. Lalita is one of them. So if you happen to be
Thank you
in
so
Mumbai,
much for sharing. I'm going on Wednesday, so
okay.
thank you so much for sharing. I'll definitely go there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a place called Wada, WADA, and you can just do a search, Govardhan Eco Village. If you need,
Wada is towards Pune, right?
no, it's not
It's
Pune, it's in Wada.
no, it's in Mumbai. Okay.
No, it's about 100 kilometers away from Pune. So within Mumbai, we have two temples, Chowpatty and Juhu, and this is no, actually we have more. We have in
Kharghar.
Panvel, we have in
Kharghar. Yeah, that one is very close to my house, so I'll be going there. Yeah.
yeah. So Modi ji was there 2 days ago in Panvel.
Oh,
Yeah, and he actually did kirtan together with all the devotees. Shamugam Prabhu, can you share that kirtan which you shared with me?
Okay,
Share
okay,
this with
Prabhuji.
all the devotees in the group. You also have admin rights.
Okay, I will share it in the group, Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. See you all next week. Huh? Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna.